Thanks again, guys, gals, for coming. It's just so fun to see everybody. I mean, Peter said, you felt like a little kid getting an airplane again, packing his stuff and going somewhere. And it's just nice to see everybody here. I'm Phil Bautista. I've been doing this since version 1.2.4. Still have my black binder of my user and admin courses, right? And I love this. And I actually have a ServiceNow certification, just because I see the need to bring people from ServiceNow back here and have that kind of foot in both camps to do integrations. But not leaving Remedy anytime soon. This is what bought my house, paid for my car, put my kids in college, and bought both my boats. So with that, I have a presentation for you called Future Proof Your ITSM Implementation. And what I mean by that, when I say future proof, what I mean is there've been a number of cases where I've come to organizations or been working in organizations where, again, you have put in ITSM, right? You've got incident, problem, change, Cmdb, service requests, SLM, and everything in place. And you took everything into account when you consulted all the stakeholders, you got all the data, you updated your product catalog at the time, you got everything in there, everything is working great, and then you got busy. And you got busy because it worked, and people were logging tickets, people were solving tickets, you've got all this kind of thing going on, and it works very, very well. And then 18 months later, you haven't touched it. Okay, now just like your car, you got to check the oil, add some oil, change the oil, same kind of a thing with this application, right? So 18 months later, typically I found that sometimes customers say, gee, I can't open a ticket, or I can't find my ticket, or the service offering that I'm looking for isn't listed there, or the new piece of software that I'm trying to request isn't there in your product catalog. Sometimes the reports don't reflect the data that your management needs, right? When they want to find out how you're doing. And a lot of times the staff is overworked. I had a customer once that said, gee, I don't have time to put in a ticket because I've got somebody standing at my desk. I've got to solve their problem. I can't put in a ticket, right? Well, if you can't put in a ticket, then you don't get dropped calls. You don't have mean time to respond, metrics that go through the roof. So you can't tell management, I need more people. So sometimes the staff gets overworked, and sometimes the requests that are in there, they just age out, and your first call resolution limits get exceeded, and it's not the application's fault because you did it right the first time, right? So typically over 18 months, your organization will change in some form or fashion. Right? Large companies will have an acquisition. They'll buy a new division, or they'll create a new division, or they'll sell off a new division, or they'll get merged, right? Depending on the activity of the public sector company, organization, whether it's military. The Pentagon does this all the time. They reorg, and they'll create new groups and things. So a lot of times, the organizations that you're supporting and your customers that you're supporting have changed. And if you don't keep up with it, then yeah, all these things that we've talked about will happen. You can't find things, you can't order things, people can't submit requests. Now, how has your organization changed? Do you need more support staff? Do you need to reorganize your support staff? Are you supporting new things that you didn't add? And a lot of times customers, I've seen this happen. I saw this happen in Denver at Catholic Health Initiatives. They said, and it's crazy. We spend all this money to buy these applications, and we spend all this money to implement them, and we put entry-level people at the tier 1. And then we pressure them. Oh, your first call resolution needs to be, you got 3 minutes to get the ticket in. And so someone calls on the phone, and you look it up, and you say, Miller. Let me look up Miller, and I either put Miller with 1 L when it's 2, or 2 L's when it's 1, or I spell Jason, whatever, and I can't find you, but I'm pressured to get this ticket in. So I'm like, you're not on my system. Let me create a new user, right? So I create a new user, and then somebody calls again, and then the same thing happens. Now I've got 2 and 3 and 4. And when you do this, by the way, as a support person, you create a new user. They're in the proposed status, right? So I've seen this at a lot of places. You go in and there's 15 Jason Millers. It's the same Jason Miller, but no one ever takes the time to go, wait a minute, let's, delete all these other Jason Millers and keep this one Jason Miller. That's how I've seen organizations change in terms of customers. Again, support staff, you add new groups and you don't put people in the right thing, or you don't give them the right permissions, or you give them too many permissions, right? Your categorizations can change, your operational categorizations, your product categorizations, or your resolution categorizations, those can change as well. In 18 months, the chances are with hardware and software releases, they're going to change, right? In addition to the locations, and especially with COVID, people are, I saw Dell say, you know what, we're just going to close the building, everybody go home. It's happening in a lot of organizations here. Just work from home, we're going to close the building. Now you don't have a desk or an office or whatever you're at, kind of thing. So the locations, the sites, the rooms change, or if you're moving servers to another room, those kind of things can change as well. So your organization can change in terms of people, categorizations, locations. Your service catalog can change. The offerings that you're making available on the self-service, the request, those can change. Or you can actually add service offerings, but a lot of times you don't really know where to add them. So you may keep the ones at the top and you add the ones at the bottom. That makes it, and again, and that makes them less easy to find. So in application design, 100 years ago, when I went through Remedy approved consultant training, the right training, the 4 cornerstones. There's the usability, maintainability, performance, and what's the other one?
I never got to go through that.
But from the usability perspective, yeah, maybe it works really well on the back end, but they can't find it. So, it's important to review your service catalog and say, this particular piece of information gets requested more often than the other ones that were requested the most at the top. So you may want to move those to the top. You may want to make them more visible, the icons, whatever the case may be. So for your service offerings, your knowledge articles, again, if you're not creating knowledge articles, then you're not really advocating for self-service so people can, that's the holy grail of this, right? The holy grail of this is you spend $0 because you spend a little bit of back-end money to create a knowledge article. So when Jason goes to your request page, he can say, oh yeah, let me look at that. Oh yeah, I've got to reset that printer thing, that driver. I always forget to do that or whatever. So again, having knowledge articles added continuously to address the problems that you're having and the incidents that you're recording and changes and such. Networks. So I did some work at Los Alamos National Laboratories, and they have not just like a SIPR or a NIPR network. They've got like red, yellow, green, blue, whatever different networks, and they're constantly changing, and they're constantly adding new elements to the network. And so if you don't keep up with those, and then your discovery goes out and doesn't discover the things that are new or things that have been shut down, then again, your data that's coming in is going to change. So your network can change as well. What if you had a crystal ball? What if you could go back to the future and you could take a look at the past and see what happened to bring you to your current day situation where everybody's complaining or it's not working the right way where it used to work the right way? Now, preparing for the Vultures, these are the new salespeople that come in and they know that you've spent a lot of money putting this in. They pay, I get emails all the time. Hey, would you like a list of, ServiceNow customers that you can, address? Would you like a list of Remedy customers? No. So they have these lists and they know you've been at this for 18 months and chances are you haven't had a chance to do all the things that we just talked about. So these Vultures circle around and go, hey, how's Remedy working for you? Hey, is everything in there? Hey, you got all the people in there? How easy is it? Let me see your metrics. And if you haven't done the work that we just talked about, they've got a point. Because you're going to go, well, yeah, it's slow. Yeah, we can't find the records. Yeah, the metrics don't support what we need. Oh, yeah, we've got new organizations. We haven't put them in yet, or whatever the case may be, right? So you might be able to be the hero for your organization. How do you do that? This is one of my favorite sayings. I have a couple on the back of my business card. This is one of my favorite sayings. You can't change a tire if you don't stop the car, right? So how do you update your organization in terms of the foundation data or the, and you know, adjust the transactional data, right? I had a customer that recently that said, oh yeah, that product catalog, well, let's just delete it. Let's start from scratch. Who knows what's wrong with that initiative? Anybody? Everything. Well, but they think, oh, it's just data. It's not a big deal. Yeah, well, here's the deal. If you have open tickets that are relying on product catalog entries and you delete those, guess what? You've got orphan tickets. You can't change, can't close those, right? So, whoops. No, not that. Pit crews, right? You got cars doing Indy 500. You got cars doing these things, and they've got to go fast. They've got to be in front, but they take a few minutes when they need it to, I mean, they take advantage of, you know, a car pilot over here, somebody side of the track. Those are their maintenance windows. Okay, those are their weekends. Those are the Christmas, like coming up Christmas, you know, everybody's, oh, we're going to be off. Guess what happens? You do your maintenance. You look at the data. But before you do that, you're actually going through during the 18 months that you put this in, and you're taking a look. What new companies did we buy? What new products are we offering? What new services are we offering? What new people have we added? Who people do we need to add, right? So if you take advantage of these windows, like a pit crew does, and do your maintenance, you'll keep these vultures away. And let's face it, I like my job. I like being able to do this. I don't particularly care to make any changes at this point. Don't wait until it's too late. Here again, if you don't do this, if you don't stop and change the tires, add fuel, change the oil, whatever the case may be, this is where you're going to be, side of the road. You know, the engine's spoken and you don't know what to do. So set aside some periodic maintenance time, update the companies as they change, as they get added, as a division gets sold, as mergers happen and acquisitions. Take a look at your customers that you're supporting, right? Add the new companies as they come in. That's pretty basic, right? Again, we talked about removing the duplicates for the tier 1 folks that are putting in the multiple 15 Jason Millers, right? And if somebody leaves the company, you want to make sure they don't have access, offboard them, right? Delete their records and things. Support staff, we've talked about permissions. I mean, you typically want to leverage templates if you can. We don't always do that. A lot of us, myself included, are just too busy doing work to prepare for this. I used to, short backstory, I used to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken in high school. And I would wait till the end of the night when we were ready to close to start cleaning. It was a nightmare. I had to rubber boots because the floor was so, we would skate around in our boots because there was oil all over the floor. And it took forever to clean everything up. What I learned is when I finish an order, put it on the tray, I'll go clean something. That's less I have to clean at the end of the night. And I would do that periodically. So at the end of the night, I just finished what I was doing and everything else was clean and I was ready to go. So take advantage of these times to, you know, take your maintenance windows basically, and take care of these kind of things. Adding staff to help close your first call resolution metrics. You may need more people. You may need more licenses. You may need to adjust some people from one group, put them in a different group. Unfortunately, I don't think I can make this go away. Can I make this go away? Hide floating meeting controls. There we go. Categorizations, other. Does anybody still have other? How many people have others? Nobody? One? Okay. I see it all the time.
No.
No, thank you very much.
Literally the word no, not.
Anybody else have no or other anything else like that? Yeah. I know Robert's seen some of these, you know, Jason, I mean, you know, these others and you think, okay, that's easy to put things in again from a usability perspective, but for the performance perspective, in the scalability perspective, you know, for the application design, those don't work, right? I mean, it's harder on us to get things right the first time, but it makes things go faster and it makes the data more reflective of what's actually going on. Avoid other. This particular one here, review and create, don't inherit. What do I mean by that? So it's interesting that this is now kind of, healthcare sign up kind of time period, right? Everybody say, do you re-sign up for, go to the market, get a healthcare plan? I did some work for the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Basically, at the time it was called Obamacare. They had they'd come from version Help Desk 6, ITSM and Help Desk 6 to version 7604. They brought over the region site department information, and they brought category type item information into their categorizations or opcats and prodcats. And you could tell because it was the same stuff from before. If you've been there, you're like, okay, that's great. And I kind of get it from a perspective that you have legacy tickets and you've got a retention policy and you've got to do this. But if you're going to take the time to upgrade, and now with these zero downtime upgrades where you can have another system over here, a target system that you're preparing and testing and everything, then you can take your data out and move those into the things. When I say review and create, don't inherit, because things will change over time, right? There's no more Windows XP, or hopefully you're not supporting Windows XP or any of those type of things, right? So review your categorizations, review those, don't inherit them if you can at all, right? That's what I mean by that. Okay. Did I go too far? Okay. Same thing with locations and sites. Take a look at them, add them as they come in, right? Hopefully you're in the know and they're not just saying, oh, by the way, we bought a new company in San Diego and they're right by the beach and we're not telling you because it's really pretty. Won't you move out there, right? Your locations and your sites, review and create them. Service and product catalogs, we talked about a little bit about that, right? Again, your high use ones, your frequently used ones, make sure they're easy to find. And here's something that I found. I did one of my first revenue clients was a internet service provider in Houston, and I noticed that the CEO and his assistant would always try to log in to the internet using their services because they provided services to see how they work. They quote unquote ate their own dog food, drink their own champagne, whatever. But they would do that. And they would take a look and see how well it worked. They would see if the things that they wanted, their service catalogs, were they available? Were they at the top? Were they at the bottom? Were they hard to find? Were they easy to find? Ensure that they're easily located in your service catalog. We talked about knowledge articles for your frequent cases, right? And again, as you accumulate more data, there'll be more data to take a look at and say, now this particular issue has surpassed our previous top one or top five, right? Had an issue here with a government customer in DC in a really funny shaped building, and they didn't want to look at their end of life hardware and software. They're the ones that said, "Oh, let's just get rid of it. We'll populate it from something else." You can, all right. I mean, you could go in Cmdb and you can take an Excel file and you can create a data set and you can throw it in and say, create all new product catalog entries for me. But problem is you got the old one sitting there. So review the end of life ones. Here's what they didn't want to do. They said, we don't have time to sit, open the product catalog and take a look at them, say, yes, no, create a suite, create an alias, that kind of a thing. And so they just were never able to benefit from that. So review and modify your end of life or create your new products as they can become available, right? So with discovery, ADDM, right? Again, we talked about networks, adding them, deleting them. Now, here's the biggest challenge with ADDM that I've seen is you come in and you say, hey guys, I've got this cool new tool. It'll discover everything. BMC knows about it. It plays well with it. It'll create new product catalog entries. All you got to do is let me scan. And for those of you that don't know, there are two types of scans with ADDM. There's the uncredentialed scan, what's your IP address, what's your operating system, so on and so forth. That's easy. But then when you get down to their credentialed scans, cybersecurity will say, well, we just don't want you on our network. Why should we give you a service account? And typically you want a service account, right? Because if you create this with your ID, if you create a login to that machine with your ID, what happens when you leave? What happens when your password expires and so on? So you want to try to use service accounts. And they typically don't want you to have a service account, but there's things like there's a CyberArk was one of the ones that we use, right? And CyberArk is one of these tools where you can say, hey, cybersecurity, don't tell me the password. Give me the usernames. Here's CyberArk, go put them in. You type in the password. I don't even want to know the password. Matter of fact, I'd rather not know the password, which is my typical response, right? I don't want to know the password. I don't want to be, I want to have plausible deniability when things go south, right? I didn't know the password. I just don't know the password. Put it in CyberArk, then ADDM or Discovery can go in and get that. And that's a good response, but you still have to sell it, right? So sometimes they say, well, but we're not sure about that. So you want your networks to be able to discover the information. You want to check their discovery runs for errors. I did some work with Bob Ellington over here. And a quick story is Bob called me up. And Bob's known me for a while. He helped us on Remedy user groups for a long time. And he called me up, his boss said, hey, you know, we've got some problems with discovery. The manufacturer's been out here before, EMC. They can't fix our problems. Their top partner's been out here. No one can fix our problems. We'd like you to come and fix our problems. I said, well, wait a minute. So the manufacturer's been out there. They can't fix it. Their partner's been out there, can't fix it. And you think I can? They go, oh, yeah, we think you can. I said, well, okay, fine. They described the problem to me, got in a plane, went to Huntsville, Alabama. And I said, okay, I'm here to solve problems. Where do I log in? They said, oh, no. We don't have time for you to log in. That'll take too long. Our onboarding process is it'll take too long. We only have 3 weeks worth of money to figure out these 5 problems. I said, well, how do I fix it? Well, you tell Billy Bob over here and he'll type it in. And I'm like, okay, Billy Bob, type this in, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bring it up on the screen. And we're in a room like this. I said, okay, can you print that out for me? And I'll take a look at it. I said, okay, type this in. And so in 2 weeks, we solved all 5 problems, had a couple support tickets, and we found that there were errors in the discovery run. They had some custom TPL that the discovery code that the TKUs were overriding. And so what used to work didn't work, but they didn't look. They weren't even aware that it was overriding. All I did was look at the log file because I didn't have any preconceived ideas of what should or shouldn't work. And I think that's what their perspective was. We know that you don't have any expectations. You'll come in and figure out what's going on. So I did. And we found there were discovery runs that were, again, overriding their custom TPL. Matter of fact, what we ended up doing is we said, we don't need this custom TPL. The TKUs take care of it. Let's just turn that off. And then they had flags that, you know, they weren't deleting duplicates and stuff. So anyway, we did that. So this is how you can help, you know, your discovery, you know, not get aged out. Cmdb, again, recent story is I was working for a government agency, and there'll be more on this. I have an interesting presentation on Cmdb on Thursday that I'll finish writing tonight. The data that they had, they said we have 10 data sources. We want all 10 data sources to come and put it in and we'll figure it out. Well, all the 10 data sources didn't necessarily have a database. We didn't want to necessarily do there was some REST API. I think Jason, you and I were talking about some of that stuff. They never wanted to prioritize the data sources because there are multiple, when you have multiple data providers, you may want certain attributes from one, certain attributes from another, certain attributes from another one. You may want nothing from them. Matter of fact, there are often times that multiple data providers provide the same information. So from a performance perspective, why would you bring, you know, 2 data sources that have the same data set? You just say, you know, but no one wanted to look at them. So it's important that you prioritize from the CMDB what your data sources, which data sources you want, and what attributes you want, and you know, and they may change, right? So when I took a look, they said, "Oh, not a big deal. We've already got this model in for one of our data providers. Just replicate that across the rest of them." I said, "Okay, great. I got that." And I took a look at it. The one that they said worked was a one-time import from a CSV file that didn't have data connection that they couldn't replicate and they couldn't automate. And when I showed them that, they said, well, we'll give you more data feeds. We talked about that. But anyway, what happened is when I took a look at the data that they said was what they wanted me to replicate, it failed all the normalization. And the reconciliation, there wasn't a reconciliation because it failed all the normalization. And the reason it failed the normalization is because they didn't look at the product catalog. So again, all these things add up to a fully functioning and continuing to function ITSM implementation, Cmdb, incident, problem, change, service request, and everything. So the product catalog entries needed to be updated. And here's the thing, you'll see this on my other Cmd presentation. You don't want everybody to have access to it, right? Their response was, oh, just give everybody access to the Cmdb, make them all admins. I said, I don't think so. And they said, well, we're different. I said, that doesn't matter. This isn't the customizable part of the application that you hear about revenue, right? So you need to designate some people. And so they did, and we went through this. So that's from Cmdb. Reporting. Reporting is the management's big iron fist, right? They can go, aha, look at this data. It's either working or it's not. And if we haven't done our job to keep everything up in, our foundation data and, our product catalogs and our Cmdb and our data feeds and discovery runs, then the reports are going to reflect that. And that's what the Vultures use to go, aha, see, I told you it wasn't working. For X number of $1 million in 6 weeks, we can get you up and running. Well, okay, here's what happens in that process. Management buys into it. They go, oh yeah, that looks a lot prettier. That looks like Amazon and Facebook. Yeah, we want that. We've got this other thing that's got all these fields. We don't understand that. Okay, so here's what happens in that process. If management decides, yeah, we're going to jump ship, we're going to go with the new kid in town, we're going to make it, it's all pretty and everything. They do the same things that you would normally do in the maintenance activity, in your pit stop. They've got to stop because they don't have to stop. They're at rest, right? They say, what companies do you have? What are your categorizations? What are your support groups? Who's in the support groups? What are your customer names? They do that from scratch, and by virtue of that, they're doing what you would normally do, except you don't have to do that. So my encouragement to you is take the time and perform these little maintenance activities, right? So the reports, if you're consumers of the reports, typically management, that you check with say, that's not what I want. It's better that before the sales guy comes in from the other guys and says, I told you it wasn't working, right? So if you can update the report to reflect what management wants, then you get to keep your job and you get to, have retain the investment that you have, because again, we spent a lot of money in this, right? So be the hero, leverage your periodic maintenance windows here, right? Update your supporting data. This will increase your customer satisfaction. It will decrease the response times, your FCR, first call response times, right? Resolution times. And the current investment that you have, you will maximize that. You'll be the hero because you'll basically be saving the money and you won't have this takeover thing, right? So that's, I think, about all I have. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or commiserations? Because I know that I'm not the only person in this room that's experienced these things. Robert, I know you do a bunch of stuff with this kind of thing. Jason, you're a consultant. You do the same kind of thing with a bunch of other people. Anybody have any stories they want to tell? How much time do I have, Jason? 20 minutes?
20 minutes, yeah.
Okay. So I'm open for questions. I'm open for commiseration. Nobody?
Well, what I've seen is a lot of times it's not the technology. It's all, like you said, all the missing points of the maintenance, the care and feeding, and the Vultures come in, they make the sale, and that customer, that organization is going to be just as happy with that brand new system in 18 months or whatever. It's a cycle. It's not a tool problem most of the time. It's a people, yeah, process.
Crappy process on tool A becomes crappy process
Bingo.
18 months or whatever later, yeah.
And it's easier to throw the technology out the window than address the people in the process. more expensive doing it that way, but it's easier.
Well, and so with one of the government customers I had, they said, oh, well, we're switching because company over here can get us to where we need to be. And they picked an arbitrary date, and I could tell it was like August 31st, whatever. It wasn't like some, quarter end kind of a thing. And they said, we've decided to go this route because they say they can get us done by that point. I said, really? I said, okay. I said, I review contracts. I review all the contracts that come across my desk because, I am the guy, I am the company, right? So I said, in your contract with them, why don't you put this in your contract? Why don't you put in that they say they can get this done for you, 100%, 6 weeks. How about if you put in there that if they don't get you in by 6 weeks, you pay nothing? Oh, we couldn't do that. And I said, well, you should, if that's the promise you're being made. Because here's what's going to happen this time again. This happened with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid. 2 years and several $1 million after the 6-week window, they were still trying to figure it out. But at that point, they've also invested so much money that it's hard to know when to quit. Right? It's like being in Vegas. Oh, just I just need one more jackpot here, one more good hand, right? It's like that. And so I don't know. I see that and I feel bad for people. And I had I don't know if you guys know George Klarman. George and I were bidding on the same. He's the Discovery, the ADDM expert. He's been doing it even before BMC bought it. George and I were on this proposal, and they said, oh yeah, we're going with this other company here because they can get us up and running. I said, George, I realized we let several $1 million go, but what's your integrity worth? Would you like to be the guy that says, oh, I can get you up in 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks later comes and says, oh, I need a few more $1 million, and then the customer goes, really? Because I just left what I had because you said you could do this, and they're kind of stuck, right? So from my perspective, my integrity is worth a lot more than saying I can get you up and done in 6 weeks. Maybe a proof of concept, right? And the challenge is with our application, this ITSM suite that we have, it is so massive and so complete and so deep and wide that sure, anybody could come in with a 3-tiered architecture and get it up in cloud in 6 weeks, but it's not going to do what we do, right? And so I guess maybe if you can do that in 6 weeks use yellow stickies. You don't need a computer if that's all you're going to do, right? But our application has so much depth and so much breadth and so much of the things that actually provide the value that sometimes it's hard to explain that to customers, especially managers, when they see dollars and cents and they see timelines and they see, I was promised this by this guys, and I believe them. They said they could do this. Anyway, that's my point. Any other questions, comments, concerns, commiserations? Robert's been in this for a long time. Robert, you got something to say. I know you got something to say.
We have a lot of managed service customers, and you're right, like the data needs to be there, and we have to build that out. And we have to help try and maintain that. We have to kind of force the issue a lot of times, right? To go back to that data and stuff. And a lot of well, we want you to focus on ITSM, let Discovery just run and populate. And we're like, okay, but we're not going to check it. We're not going to check the errors. We're just going to let it populate the product catalog and things like that. So you definitely have to do a lot of work around those areas. And that's what you're saying. Like we get those kind of bid too, where they're like, hey, other people are saying they can get us up in 30, 45 days. And we're like, yeah, that's if you're going to do like 2 templates and and I'm going to give you your obcats and I'm going to give you your prodcats and I'm not going to talk to you at all other than just tell you like this is the buttons you got to click. Right? If you want to have a conversation about like what are the metrics you want to get and how do we shape that data in order to get there, then it requires a little bit more thought around those things and continual growth. Like there definitely are things that we can do where we can stair step people into parts of the application, right? Like I don't have to do all 6 classes of change management day one, especially for a customer that's saying, yeah, I only have normal, and yeah, we kind of have emergency, but it's not documented. Great, let me show you what we've got. Our thing is ITIL V4 certified now, right? Like Pink Verify. So we've got a good process, but let's turn these on. We'll show you how to do that, and we'll teach you how to, be able to turn on the other ones down the road, right? Yourselves or with our help, whichever. Right? Teaching them to fish is a big part of what we do, and you got to mentor them along that way. Everybody just kind of thinks like, okay, so I just got to take the class and I'm good. I'm just as good as you after I take that class. It's like, yeah, probably not. So do some work during those projects, learn the tool. You got to get in there. You got to do more than just take a class and get certified. Right? You got to have some hands-on and build that down. You're absolutely right. Re-reviewing that data and understanding, we go into the cell phone and they're like, yeah, we don't, like, we're not using smart recorders sometimes. We found out with even one of our managed service customers. We're like, wait, your service desk is doing what? And they're like, yeah, like we just went back to the create new, like that's what we were comfortable with. We're like, okay, we need to go back to the smart recorder. Like, you realize there's all this other stuff there? And we're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And you can create the digital workplace catalog items from there, which then gets us the same IDs, which then kicks off that automated workflow we built for you over in the catalog. And they're like, oh, right. And the automated approval.
Light bulb.
But you gotta circle back with that stuff. So you're absolutely right.
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the, and by the way, Doug Mueller taught me this a long time ago, you got to learn to say no, right? I had a customer, they said, oh, wait a minute. So I can send you an email and create a ticket? I'm like, yeah. Oh, we don't want to use the GUI. We just want to send emails. That's easiest. Okay, great. Welcome to other, right? Welcome to the help desk. It's your go. I got to categorize this correctly. Categorize, you're shoving, you're got a boat with a big old hole in it trying to bail, right? That kind of a thing. So, so I have also had customers say, oh, I don't need training. It's a GUI. I go on Facebook and Amazon all the time. I got this. And then like, what do I pick? How do I do this? Where's the, and I mean, is training a big component of any of your customers? I mean, how do you sell them on that, Robert?
So on the digital workplace side, not so much, right? We do very little training on that piece because we do feel that side should be more, right? We all download apps on our phone. We should be able to use some more. But when you get to the fulfiller side, we definitely do training on that, right? Training of the smart recorder, the process that the customer defines. Not even the BMC has defined out the box, right? But if you've got some tweaks as to how you guys process certain things and major incident management, which Pete covered, but with the new flow and things, but everybody still does some things different, right? At this point, we want to work info entry created as part of the major incident management process. So you record those kinds of things, but we've definitely tended much more towards doing like web-based training, instructor-led online kinds of things, so we can get to more people. But also, the big thing that we always kind of tell them is like, look, we're doing this big onboarding for you. Is that all the employees you're ever going to have? So we train everybody in the company. You're never going to hire anybody else. Like, how are you going to retrain those folks, right? So, we're big proponents of train the trainer with those companies and making sure that they have people on board who can also conduct some of that training themselves and things, and doing even just little lunch and learns, even just showing up once a month where you can say like, hey, just come in here and stump the chump of ask any question you want, like how do I do stuff in the application. Like that also helps to build the community as to like using the application and wanting to use it and having a better experience with it, right? Tips and tricks. It doesn't need to be a 1 hour session. Like it can be hey, 30 minutes. We're coming in, we're showing you a 10-minute tip and trick, and then you can ask any questions you want. Right? If you've got something outstanding, you understand how to do something.
It's a great way to get user feedback as well. We do that on a monthly basis. We rotate through reporting, incident change, and tips and tricks, as you're saying. And it has given us a lot of feedback on what's important to them, maybe how we can make it better work for them, as well as being help them to know, hey, you could do this.
Well, and Robert, you hit on something I think is important too. the leave behinds, the documentation, right? On the back of my business card, I have like 3 of them left. There are a couple sayings. There's like 3 that I can remember. One is together, everyone achieves more. Team. It's important. The stuff you're seeing here this week was put together by a team. It wasn't just me, it wasn't just Lenny. And this man here with his Linux skills and container skills and everything else, Jason Miller and Bob. All, by the way, we spent a couple of months doing rehearsal, but there's things we couldn't do until we got here. So again, the team is one acronym that I have. Also, another one I have is, if it's worth doing, it's worth documenting, because I'm probably going to have to tell you about it, and I'm probably going to have to come back to it myself. So if I'm going to spend time doing it on installs, right, or on whatever, what do you call them, training guides or whatever, I will take screenshots. I'm not only like take screenshots, but if it's a screenshot that has a URL or something and that you can type and mistype, I will actually go into the app and I'll screen scrape the text, put it above the image, the screen, the capture they have, so that when you see this image, you can scrape that and stick it in the thing and hit go, right? So if it's worth doing, if it's worth doing, it's worth documenting, because I may have to go back. I went back to Bob a couple of times after he did the ADDM thing. He said, "Oh, do you know anything about Remedy?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I do." So again, we did some stuff with Remedy, and I documented a lot of things for Bob, and he says, "I got it. You don't need to come back." He actually, I thought he was never going to call me back. He called me back twice to come help him with some other things. Okay. The other one that I have, other acronym I have, the thing I have is, and this goes to kind of, the patching of things, right? Trying to get things, going right away is, and I didn't invent this. It was one of my colleagues years ago told me this. It is, nothing is more permanent than a temporary solution. You know what I mean? Somebody says, "Oh yeah, just put this thing over here," and that's fine. We don't need to go big, and that becomes that's the cutting the ends off the ham at Christmas time. That's that deal, right? So anyway, so documentation is important, leave behind is important, training is important, lunch and learns are important, periodic taking a look at what's going on is important, right? Otherwise, you're
that documentation also beforehand. The design, doing like a design doc to then share amongst the team, like, this is what I'm planning on building. It's something that we try to mentor those folks on, and we leave behind templates for them to follow. Even our team sometimes gets a little slack on that, but it is something that we are big proponents of, because we have found that, especially with teams that are new, right, customer teams that are new to the platform, if they're not doing that, they're just going off and like building something on their own, and nobody's really understanding what's going on with it, what they're hitting, or performance issues that then ensue, things like that.
absolutely.
I had 2 new Remedy customers within the last year and a half or so, did implementation, and they wanted to know how you modify things. So I showed them Dev Studio. I'm like, cool, I could jump in here and change things. Whoa, hold on. Take a step back a second. You asked, but don't touch.
Well, and the state, you had a question, you had a comment?
I was just gonna mention, the documentation is great, but you also have to catalog that to make it easily accessible to your audience, right? So you might have an area where your end users can go through and get your luncheon notes, how do you get to the recordings of your luncheon notes, for example, or, screenshot sort of things, user guides. Because otherwise, yeah, you have all this documentation, but how do you take advantage of it?
I'm an amateur radio operator. Actually, I'm an extra class amateur radio operator, and I provide training with the National Incident Management System, but the FBI and FEMA we use for training and stuff. And I provide training on the voice net, the radio, over the radio, every Sunday to our emergency management folks. And I could just make it up or read it off, but I actually go through the effort to write it out and email it to the team, and sometimes it's a form of a question, but again, it's catalog. You can take a look at, and I'll reference a particular part of the National Incident Management ICS documentation that they can go back and take a look at. It's not, gee, what did he say? Where was it? It's that federated information, right? That's there that they can look at and go and find. And that's important. I will tell you one last thing. I've had some work for the state of Texas, and this seems to happen fairly frequently. The project manager or the director will say, "Hey, I used to code. Can you put me in that admin group?" I'm like, When you sign off on that DD 240, or you sign off on the thing that you bought it and you pay me and the check clears, you got it. Admin rights all the way. Otherwise, you're gonna go in and I'll delete, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, it doesn't work. So anyway, yes?
There was one point where I had to kick my mentor out of being an admin because she went into management and went from admin tool to dev studio and just wasn't versed in how things were working. And finally she gave up admin. It's like, okay, fine, I'm not going to go in there anymore.
I'm gonna call her and ask her about that because I know where she
exactly what I'm
lives.
talking about.
Yeah. Am I out of time yet, Jason?
You got 4 minutes.
Okay. Anybody want 4 minutes back of their life? Anybody have anything else they want to say?
So one of the things we started to do recently is taking those videos and things and putting them into knowledge articles. If you have Digital Workplace Advanced, you can embed those in there. They can display within there. You can also then display within Chatbot as well, which then goes into Teams. And with that Teams integration, we've seen a lot better adoption of things like knowledge and searching for that kind of stuff from general users and stuff. But then being able to watch videos has gotten better adoption of reading, quote unquote, reading knowledge articles, right? But watching the videos out of it instead and things like that. But it's another way to do that.
Perfect. That's a great idea. I use YouTube all the time. When I was creating slides, I had to create 6 slide decks last night for these 3 days. And I went in and I had to watch a YouTube about creating an outline in Word and importing it into PowerPoint. And I was done in like, a couple hours for 6 decks instead of, doing them one at a time. So yeah, that's the way, we watch videos these days a lot. So.
Partner IT, Robert? I left a comment on one of your guys' YouTube videos because it was just so well done and it showed me some things that I'd never thought of. So yeah, I loved it.
I've actually watched one of your videos and there was something I was trying to remember. I don't know what it was, something that I know, but I couldn't remember exactly, like mid-tier password or whatever kind of thing. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. And I went to watch your thing. I'm like, stop, and then look at it, and then I'm ready to go. So yeah, it's a great idea. Thank you, Robert. Thanks, everybody. Okay, that's it. I'm done. If you want to be entertained, you can come to my Cmdb presentation on Thursday, and I can guarantee you'll laugh. If you don't laugh, I'll give you $1. I'm serious. I'll bring a whole bunch of dollars because I think you're all going to laugh and be entertained. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.